regularly outperform stocks because they are true wealth assets that have real value. During the 3-year recovery period after the 2008 crash, the Dow went up only 3.5%, while gold more than doubled in price. Call 888-344-0094 and ask for Augusta's Guide to Gold IRAs. And learn how an IRA, backed by physical gold and silver, can hedge against inflation and build a true legacy for your family. Regain control of your financial destiny. Call Augusta Precious Metals at 888-344-0094 to get your free gold IRA guide. Call 888-344-0094 today. The price of gold and silver fluctuates over time, and you can lose money. Check with financial and legal advisors.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's your host, Matt Hatfield.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, on this 12th of May. Glad you're tuned in to High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. The voice you heard before me was Kyle Hightower, our producer-engineer today. No Thomas Simmons, and no Coach Ed Young, who was on assignment on this Mother's Day weekend. Hope all the moms out there are doing well. And, hey, if you're a mom out there and you're bored, call in at 757-687-9494. We'll talk to you. Anything in the world of sports, especially high school sports, from 10 to noon here every Saturday on ESPN Radio 94.1, which can also be heard on ESPNRadio941.com and VirginiaPreps.com. I am Matt Hatfield, and we've got in studio this morning some special guests. For the first hour, we've got, and we'll introduce him in just a moment, Lamar Barrett, assistant basketball coach at Hofstra. He is a Franklin native, by the way, played at Franklin High School. We'll go through his background and talk about what it's like to be the assistant coach, the life of an assistant basketball coach at the Division I level, and go through a bunch of items this morning, basketball related, and what he's looking for when he's out recruiting. And in the 11 o'clock hour, we'll be joined by some Maury Commodores head football coach Dyrri McCain in his second year, Sheridan Jones, 4-star defensive back committed to Clemson, and KeAndre Lambert, a junior who is a top recruit in the country and also the nephew of Cam Chancellor, by the way. And phone lines are open all morning long if you want to talk to us at 757-687-9494. But let's get some, as I call them, housekeeping items out of the way first here. A couple of things to note on the basketball side of things. Cam Baycoat, Bethel graduate, is heading to Indiana State after a freshman year at Maryland Eastern Shore. So we say kudos to Cam. We've had him on before, and we'll probably get him on sometime in the next couple of weeks. We are planning to be doing our show from the Boo Williams Sportsplex over there in Hampton for the Hoop Group Southern Jam Fest next week and the Nike EYBL the following week, which will be Memorial Day weekend, I think. And then a couple of notes. Phoebus guard Antoine Miles committed to Virginia State, and a longtime Maury Hoops coach Jack Baker selected to the Virginia High School League Hall of Fame. So we salute Coach Jack Baker on that. And on the football side of things, Tank Land out of Bishop Sullivan Catholic, defensive back in Virginia Beach, at a Final Four, Virginia Tech, Auburn, Maryland, South Carolina. He chose Maryland, going to play in the Big Ten for the Terps. Out of Maryland, they've got assistant coach Chris Beatty up there as well. People know him from coaching at Lansdowne High and Salem High in Virginia Beach. But, Kyle, the big news before we go to the phones and also bring in Lamar Barrett here was the Kentucky Derby last week. And I was really busting Ed's chops because Ed, as you know, Kyle, is generally the jinx. Anytime, he blames it on me, but anytime we get a guest on, it's a coach, they lose the next game. It's a natural, especially the ones he books. So he had the favorite winning, but he nailed the trifecta last week. Did you come anywhere close? Did you pick the Kentucky Derby or no, Kyle?
No. Well, I thought that my pick for the Kentucky Derby was Bolt Doro.
Oh, okay. Bolt Doro. That's what I had to win it.
And he was like
doing
up there
well
for a long time.
He was.
Near the last
I was
stretch,
getting excited. I was fist pumping near the TV, probably like you were. But if you missed it last week, you can play a snippet of it. Here's our Kentucky Derby picks and Ed Young as he nailed the trifecta. Your picks for the Derby, Ed Young. Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at three horses. I'm not sure how I want to put them into play. Obviously, Justify has to be in the top three.
All right.
Audible is in there somewhere.
You love the Audible, especially the line of scrimmage. You do that a lot.
And one that I've really picked up on lately is Good Magic.
Good Magic. Yeah, I'm going to leave that alone. Ed Young uses Good Magic for it, but
I guess I'm going to go with. I'm going to say.
Thank goodness you didn't take two of my horses, only just one. You've cursed Justify. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I think Justify wins it.
Oh,
Magic second, Audible third.
third.
Here's who you have to watch out for.
There you go. He nailed it. All three horses. Win, play, show. So that explains why Ed Young is on assignment this morning as we say good morning to our good friend Lamar Barrett, assistant basketball coach at Hofstra. Many people know him, too, from Old Dominion. He was an assistant coach there for a while. He's been all over the place. He was a Franklin native. He's a Franklin native, as we said. Good morning, Lamar.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for stopping in. I know you're disappointed not to see Coach Ed this morning, but he's a big wheeling, dealing guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Coach Young, I've been knowing him ever since I was a high school basketball player at Franklin High, and he was at Suffolk High at the time, years ago, and we used to have some games in a fall league at Birdsong Recreation Center. So that was a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, and a lot of battles in that gym up at Birdsong Recreation Center.
So that's how you got to know Coach Young?
Yes.
Wow.
That's how we got to know him.
And, of course, you being a college basketball coach, you've probably bumped into him many a times and recruiting some of his players. Let's start there, though. Your memories at Franklin. What year did you go there and graduate?
Graduated in 1989.
Okay.
From there, went to Longwood University for a couple of years. Decided I wanted to leave and actually finished up at Elizabeth City State University. Played 3 years there. Had a good run. And, so I've always been a Southern Virginia, Northeastern North Carolina guy. Which
is a little bit unique because you're usually one or the other. You're not both, and you've got connections all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. When did you know you wanted to coach basketball? And we'll talk a little bit about your playing career too, but when did you know that would be your career, so to speak?
A lot of people all the time, my high school coach at the time, my senior year, was James Jones, passed away
last year.
Year ago. Yes. He was my senior year. Before that, it was Mike Head. He was there for 3 years for me. But it's interesting. Everyone always told me that I was a leader, and I didn't see it as a player. And then my senior year in college. I was about to graduate, and my college coach, Claudia Mackey, actually asked me would I stay on and coach with him at Elizabeth City State University. And at the time, I listened to a guy by the name of Robert Vaughn, and he told me probably I should step away from Elizabeth City for a while, and then if I wanted to return, I could. And so 3 years later, I was asked, or had a chance to meet with Elizabeth City to come back as an assistant coach. And at the time, I thought it would have been a good idea, but I decided to go the high school route first, and started in 1997 as a high school basketball coach at Oxon Hill High School in Maryland, and had some great success for 6 years there. Won 2 state championships, lost 2 state championships, and the other 2 years were probably the best years we had as a record-wise, when we were ranked 12th and 15th in the country. So had a great 6-year run before even getting into college basketball.
We're chatting with Lamar Barrett, assistant basketball coach of the Hofstra Pride, Franklin High School graduate and native, here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1, just finishing up his second season with Joe Mahalik and the Pride. And, of course, he also coached at many places. We'll get into Brown, University of New Haven, Central Connecticut State, Old Dominion. You want to talk to Coach Barrett? Give us a call at 757-687-9494. And wouldn't you know, our first caller is the Kentucky Derby extraordinaire himself, Coach Young. Where are you right now? I know you're out wheeling and dealing.
I'm trying to get a lead on the Preakness. That's all. I'm just trying to find out what the ponies are going to do, and then I can help my good friend Lamar Barrett get some coin.
I appreciate that, Coach Young.
Man, Lamar, it's good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a while, and you're truly missed around these parts.
I appreciate that. It's great when you can get back home sometime. I remember telling my mom when I graduated from college I would not come back this way, and then – I was fortunate 20 years later to have a chance to come back home and then coach at the school that you watched growing up to have success. And that was kind of a blessing coming back home. I never thought I would get back to the Tidewater area or Hampton Roads area as it is now, but had a chance to be here for 3 years, and it was a good run for me. and I appreciate the time that I was here.
I've enjoyed our friendship. A couple things. You're not done in the Tidewater, or let me just say the state of Virginia. Ask Matt about my predictions about coaches. They come true. Jamion Christian, I said, would not last long at Newt over there at Mount St. Mary's. He was gone a month later. So you'll be back in the state eventually. And number 3, I heard briefly about the battles at Birdsong against Franklin. Let's make sure people understand Franklin never beat Suffolk High. Lamar Barrett never had double figures against an Ed Young coach team.
Yeah, I think you did a great job of making sure I didn't do that because I know you had some talented teams, but you made sure that you were going to win those competitive games at Birdsong. So, the scouting report was, you got to cover Barrett. He's only dangerous without the ball. And then when you had the ball, we didn't have to worry much because, boy, you put it up. I tried to do a little bit. I tried to.
But they were good battles, and like I said, a few years later we developed that friendship. I got a lot of respect for you in the business. I think you're one of the guys that does it right. You're down the middle, and ain't a whole lot like that. And as a high school coach, I was always proud that you had recruited my kids, and hopefully in the future you'll be able to have somebody play for you.
I appreciate that, Coach. I really appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you. This is a guy, I've followed his whole career, and it's meant a lot to me. And like you said, this area is always loaded with talent, and that's why you can come back here and recruit this area because there's a ton of talent in the Hampton Roads area.
Like I said, you'll be back in a different venue, a different capacity in the state of Virginia soon enough. So I wish you the best. I don't want to hold on long. Might be some other people. I'm not the co-host today. I'm just a caller. So I'm going to jump off and wish you the best.
Well,
thank you, Coach.
Real quickly before you hop off, did you watch the race last week, or were you unable to view it?
I did have a chance to see it. I know you're not allowed to talk about it, but let's just say if I would have went with my instinct and at the place and did some contributing, I could have won some nice cat coin, but I got the horses mixed up, so I didn't.
Oh my goodness. How did you pull that off? This would be the one time that and you're probably going to blame me for this, aren't you? Because I wasn't with you and I had to dart off to a 7-on-7, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because we were going to go over to the place, but that's okay. We'll see what happens in the Preakness.
That's why he hasn't been talking to me for a whole week, Lamar. He gave me the silent treatment. Gave me the silent treatment. Well, thanks for calling in. Enjoy Mother's Day weekend, and I'm sure we'll see you next week. We're supposed to be at the Boo Williams Sportsplex the next 2 weekends, provided no technical snafus. So we will see you, I guess, when you get back or wherever you are. We'll talk to you soon.
Good enough, my man. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. That's Coach Ed Young here, my usual co-host here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We're joined in studio by Lamar Barrett, assistant basketball coach of the Hofstra Pride. You want to talk to Coach Barrett? Give us a call at 757-687-9494. He'll take anything sports-related. Basketball's his specialty, obviously being an assistant coach, college hoops Division I level. But give us a call at 757-687-9494 right here on ESPN Radio 94.1. Now, at what point did you know you coached some high school basketball? What did that do, I guess, in terms of your preparation, A, for coaching college basketball, and B, when did you know you wanted to get into college basketball coaching?
What's interesting, I probably thought I wanted to be in college coaching all along. But, like me, I'm probably more of the grinder type, and you learn. Like I learned the high school basketball side. So that was a plus. And then you get a understanding of what college coaches are looking for. So it kind of helped me a little bit, just having a chance to communicate with those guys on a daily basis, and so being on the high school side, knowing what they were looking for, it kind of helped me to see what I should be looking for when it came time to go into the college level.
And it's a little rare for someone to go from, correct me if I'm wrong, from your bio, you went from assistant high school coach to assistant college coach.
Yes,
because you were at Oxon Hill, and then you went. We'll back up to a little bit of your days here playing too. I want to get to before we're done in this opening segment, but a lot of people say you got to be a head coach before you make that jump. What was kind of your first big break, if you kind of recall, where you kind of said, all right, this can be something I can be doing for a long time and be successful at it?
Well, I was fortunate to work for a guy at Oxon Hill who allowed me to he was the head coach. He loved practice, didn't like the games. I loved coaching in the games, so we kind of worked together there. That was a luxury. But, it's not it's not as big a jump as you think. There are a lot of assistant coaches, and college coaches, head coaches are always watching. They know who want to be at that level. So, they'll look at the assistant coach who, he goes out, he can recruit kids, and he has a great relationship with kids, and he does a lot of instructional work. When they see that, a lot of times it's kind of easier to get in at that college level, because that's going to be the similar job you're going to be doing. And there's no egos as well. So they understand that a very good assistant high school basketball coach, you could take him and just bring him right into your program as an assistant at the college level.
Now, your first coaching job at the collegiate level was?
Central Connecticut State University.
Interesting. It was a little bit after Ed Young's time at Quinnipiac, by the way, we just had on. But you get there. What was kind of the first rude awakening moment where you said, "Oh, this is going to be a little bit different or harder than I thought, perhaps"? Or did you have that at all?
You know what? The days, the long days. You're in the office at 8 or 9, and I work for a guy, Howard Dickerman, who's one of the best. He's one of the best sharp minds in the business. And your days become 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But I can tell you when it became tough. I wasn't married at the time, and this is a little story.
Okay.
Wasn't married at the time. My wife saying it was coming up. We had an exhibition game. And this was when I knew it was really tough. We had an exhibition game. We played. Game started at 7. We were over about 8:45, 9 o'clock. And she was flying in from Maryland at the time to Hartford, Connecticut. And we were scheduled, I'm thinking I could pick her up at 10:30. It was an exhibition game. We finished. He does his media. The head coach, Howard, does his media. We come in and he pops the tape in. So when he pops the tape in, we start watching the tape. I get a message from her, flight delayed. I'll be picked up at 11. Well, at 11 o'clock, I wasn't able to pick her up. We were still watching film over and over again as a staff, and she was still sitting at the airport at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, goodness.
And I went to go pick her up, and that was when I was really that's when I was, the moment of college basketball had arrived that you can't schedule anything because you never know what's going to happen at any time. So I realized that. I was still fortunate that she married me after she sat in the airport for 2+ hours, but that was kind of my introduction to college basketball.
Well, I imagine your payback was sitting outside of whatever shopping place she was at for 2.5 hours plus, at least,
Yeah, I think I did that once.
Once?
Or twice.
We're talking about Lamar Barrett, Franklin native, Hofstra assistant basketball coach here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. You want to talk to Coach Barrett? Give us a call, 757-687-9494. We want to hear from you out there. Maybe some people that played against or know Lamar from his Franklin days, or you just know him as a college basketball coach. Give us a buzz at 757-687-9494 right here on ESPN Radio 94.1. And it's interesting how things go in the world of basketball and college basketball. As you know, we'll go a little forward to your coaching stops, American University, Old Dominion, Hofstra, and others. But I want to back up just a little bit. You mentioned you played at Elizabeth City State, and you were a 2-year captain, pretty good player, as Coach Young mentioned a little bit earlier. And ironically enough, you were a teammate with ODU assistant John Richardson there.
Yes. When I transferred in, and I actually was a sophomore on the court at the time, he was a freshman, and we were there for 3 years together. And John was a guy who he was a hard worker, very good defensive player. He was a defensive specialist for us, and he could actually knock down a couple of jump shots. So he played off the ball a little bit, and and I'm not surprised to where he is today. He always had a sharp basketball mind, and so I'm not surprised the success he had at Woodside High School. As well as now in the college ranks. I'm not surprised at all, because, you could see that back then. So, that's the thing with him. He's a hard worker, and he's gonna make sure that he gets a lot of things done, and he's going to work hard at that.
And, of course, went back-to-back state titles at Woodside as the head coach there before he moved on the college level, been at Old Dominion and Virginia Tech, and now with the Monarchs. When you look at your Central Connecticut State stay, before we move a little forward, recruiting, did you have a better or greater appreciation, you think, having been a high school coach when you made the rounds? And, of course, you're also looking at a lot of AAU games. You're out and about the whole year. How did you, I guess, adjust from the life of being high school assistant coach to now you're a college coach. You don't have to worry about just game plans and things of that nature, game days and coaching these young men, but also you got to recruit. That's a new element.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. So it kind of helped me out. I was at a public high school in the state of Maryland. But the one thing about being up in the D.C., Maryland, Northern Virginia area is private schools has always been big. And so the private schools were always recruiting kids from your program or from your area, the school zone. So what I did as a high school assistant basketball coach at Oxon Hill was I made sure that I sat in the gym at the Boys and Girls Club from 8 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays to 5 or 6 p.m. all day, watched those kids, and then got the kids that was supposed to come to my high school. Did not allow them to go to the private schools in the area. I might have missed out on one or two. A guy like Jared Jack, who ended up going to the math. Guys like that you missed out on, but for the most part, got all the kids that should have. So he was already kind of recruiting then at the high school level, making sure you kept your own kids. So watching middle school games, watching Boys and Girls Clubs games. So it kind of wasn't a bigger adjustment as you think, because you had already started doing that at an early age and bringing kids over to see you play. See high school games. So when they were in middle school, they had a chance to come and see us play. So you were already recruiting and having unofficial visits and all that stuff then. So
sure,
that was a plus.
Now, after 2005, you leave and go to the University of New Haven. Is that right?
Yes, I was. It's at Central Connecticut, and like I said, had a chance. I stayed in the area for a year. Was trying to contemplate if I wanted to stay in or stay out, and I stayed around for a year in New Haven. Went there for a year, and a guy by the name of Al Cyber had just gotten a job, and he asked me would I come over for a year, and I was there for all of 9 months. And right after that, that's another thing is, I tell people all the time, if you really want to learn everything in college athletics, go to the Division II or Division III level first, because you do everything from recruiting to scouting. And that year I had, I did 28 of the 29 scouting reports for that team. So you're going to do that. You're going to do, travel. You got to do scheduling. So you almost doing everything from driving vans. So you really want to learn or figure out how to be a college basketball coach, you start at the Division II, Division III level. And that is a very tough task.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not the most rewarding of situations.
It's not. It's rewarding in seeing kids. One thing I like.
I'm speaking of the financial part.
Financial part is not rewarding.
Yeah.
But the part of seeing kids have a chance to play and do something they love to do, and then at the end of the day, it's all about getting a degree, and so you want those guys to be successful in life, and that's the rewarding part for me, making sure that those guys come through and they get a degree in that 4 or 5 year window.
Sure, and that is often, like you said, the joy. You want to make a difference with those young men in their lives, and certainly you've done that in every stop you've been at. Now, before we go to the phones here, I see a caller in for you. Tell me, at that point, were you at a crossroads in your coaching career, or was that point later before in your eyes?
No, it was more of, do I want to move quickly? Okay. And in this business, it's all about, can you move quickly? And I actually took a step back to move forward. And I was there at New Haven for a year, and a lot of people remember this name, and he's a great guy. But a guy by the name of Mike Rice, who was the head coach, at Rutgers University, he was working for Rob Kennedy for a long time, who runs the Hoop Group, and they'll be here next week. I have been working with Rob for summers, and at that time it was Eastern Invitational, but before it became the Hoop Group. And Mike Rice kept saying, if you want to move in this business, you need to go and work for Rob at Eastern Invitational, become the director. And so I went to, I finally took Mike Rice's advice, had a chance. And like I said, I had been knowing Rob, and Rob brought me in the summer of 2006, and had a chance to open up a lot of recruiting networks nationally from being there. So I thought it was just a smart thing to do. and that's why I ended up going to the hoop group for 2 years.
And we'll get to that in just a little bit. It's interesting to hear that, though. You took a step back to move forward. Not a lot of coaches these days have that vision or thought to do that. We go to the phones for Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach and Franklin native here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. You have plenty of time to call in at 757-687-9494. That's 757-687-9494. We say good morning to a coach you probably know pretty well, Coach Taft Hickman of the Kempsville Chiefs. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Lamar?
I'm doing well, Coach Hickman. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I want to chime in on Lamar. You know, Lamar's wife, I knew her before he knew her, and she was already involved in the basketball. She was my stat keeper on my state championship team with Monty Williams back in 1989.
So were you the matchmaker? Matchmaker, make me a match?
I don't know how that matched, but I just saw one time Lamar told me, he said, you know my wife. I said, who's your wife? He said, Cassandra. I said, what?
Wow. I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Potomac is right in Oxon Hill also. And Lamar did a great job. I think I had left Potomac, went to Bowie State when Lamar came through, but I got a chance to know him because he said he was always out there. And I didn't get a chance to coach against him. I think he was late in college. I didn't get a chance to coach him when I went to Bowie State. But Lamar's always been out there. He's been like a really good friend. Just having a connection with him and a thorough recruiter because, you know, Oxon Hill was, you know, Potomac was a team back, and I guess when Lamar got there and a few other guys got there, and they had some good players, and Lamar and the guys, they turned that program completely around. Like Lamar, they're 12th in the country. I'm like, because I used to get all those kids from Oxon Hill. But Lamar came in, and he made sure that Potomac didn't get them all.
That's true. I mean, and Coach is right. I mean, he was dominant. You know, at Potomac, he was a little later. He was at Bowie State at the time when I was there, but he did it. You know, people really still talk about Taft Hickman in the DMV area. You know how successful he was. I mean, all the players. I mean, and he has guys who've gone on and done tremendous things in the basketball world as well. So he has a great legacy in that area, and a ton of people respect him for that.
You won 2 state titles too, did you not, Coach Hickman?
Yeah, we won 2, but, you know, man, I was like, should have won about 6. We went there 4 times, but when you got to run up against Dunbar, Baltimore, the southern out of Baltimore, it makes it kind of tough.
I felt that same way, Coach. We lost to Lake Clifton, so I can understand that in an overtime game at the buzzer. So those Baltimore teams are always tough versus PG County teams.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for calling in, Coach. We appreciate it, and be well.
Okay, Lamar, I'll be talking with you.
Thanks, Coach Hickman. Have a great weekend.
Taft Hickman, Kempsville head basketball coach, who just got his 500th win 2 seasons ago over there. When we come back, more to do with Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach. We'll get into his time at Hoop Group, as well as the differences between players in the Maryland, D.C. area and Virginia, recruiting, Old Dominion days, and now at Hofstra, where he's got a guy from the 757 on the squad. Give us a call at 757-687-9494 right here on ESPN Radio 94.1.
ESPN Radio 94.1 cheers for Hampton Roads businesses. Here's this week's local business scope.
In studio, it's easy to show your mom how much you truly appreciate her, and maybe even fess up to all the reasons she was a real trooper and the greatest mom in the world.
Mom, this is for all the curfews I missed.
For the teacher conferences that didn't go so well.
For all the stray pets I brought home.
For saying you liked the purple hair.
Mom, here's a little something for not telling Dad when he got home.
There are a million reasons to show your mom or the mother of your children how much you love and appreciate her. And the experts at Diamonds Direct have put together a special collection of classic affordable Mother's Day gifts. Beautiful fashion jewelry, pearls, eternity bands, bracelets, colored gemstones, diamond pendants, and so much more. And now till Mother's Day, you can get 3 years zero-interest financing. That's right. Buy now and spread your payments over 36 months with zero interest. After all, she did survive your teenage years. There's no better way to show your appreciation than a lasting reminder of your love with a gift from Diamonds Direct.
On Virginia Beach Boulevard, across from Town Center.
Napa know-how. Hear that screeching sound from your car? It's your brakes yelling, "Change me." So head to any Napa Auto Care Center and we'll replace them for you. Or go to any Napa Auto Parts store and do it yourself. Either way, you'll get a $50 prepaid Visa card by mail on qualifying purchases over $250. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/18.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's your host, Matt Hatfield.
Thank you, Kyle. Back here on the program, we have a special in-studio guest, Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach, gearing up for year number 3 with the Pride. He's been many places, a lot of travels from the days at Franklin High School to coaching at the high school level with Oxon Hill High School in Maryland, a couple of state titles there. Also at Brown, University of New Haven, Central Connecticut State, Old Dominion, American. Am I leaving anybody out, Coach?
No, I don't think so.
That's about it. Also, Hoop Group, which we'll get to in just a little bit, and we'll be out next week, supposed to be next week at the Hoop Group Southern Jam Fest, an annual event for us. We've talked to many guests out there from the likes of Jay Billis and Tim Legler, and our good buddy Steve Keller's always a regular, and Rob Kennedy, the president of Hoop Group, and many players and coaches out there. And last year we spoke with Sharif O'Neal, Shaq's son. Wow. So that was a pretty neat experience. But let's get to Coach Hickman hit on something just a moment ago. And if you want to talk to Coach Barrett, you have plenty of time to call in. Give us a buzz at 757-687-9490. That number to get you through is 757-687-9490 this morning here on ESPN Radio 94.1. But Coach Hickman spoke about the his days up there and you there, and you've been in Virginia. What are some of the differences that you notice in basketball, be it the players or just the style, from the Maryland, D.C. area to here in Virginia specifically, especially this Tidewater portion of the state?
I don't think it's a difference. I think it's a
myth.
It's definitely a myth. This is what I've seen it, and I say it all the time, and it's been this way for a while. If you don't play with Boo Williams' travel team, A team, a lot of coaches in this business do not believe that kids are any good. They're questioning why guys don't play for Boo. It's more exposure in the D.C., the DMV area than it is down here. And this is a hotbed for talent. There's a ton of athletes down here, and I don't think people understand it. And then you kind of mentioned Jalen Ray earlier. He was the guy who played on the team-loaded 804, team-loaded 757 team. Yeah. And, a lot of people were questioning why he didn't play with Boo. And, my boss at the time, he was wondering, why he didn't play. Is he that good? But there are a lot of kids in this area, and this is one reason I love recruiting, because those guys are underappreciated, and then they have a huge chip on their shoulder once they leave and go away, and that's why I think they have they have successful careers, because they do have a chip on their shoulder.
Well, and before we go back to the phones again, 757-687-9490, we'll get you in here on ESPN Radio 94.1. You sort of hit on the recruiting aspect, and we'll touch more in depth about Jalen Ray in just a moment. All about exposure now, it seems, correct?
Yes, it's all about exposure. I mean, if you're not at certain places where college coaches are going to be, you're losing out. And I say that all the time. That was one of the things, or a theme we had at the Hoop Group. It was all about exposure, making sure kids get seen, get a chance to get out, let college coaches see you. And that was this was one of the markets that I hit a few years ago. And Coach Young used to bring his teams up to the Hoop Group team camps, as well as Coach Hickman. I mean, he had some kids that were there that probably wouldn't have gotten the attention they did receive unless they were at Hoop Group team camp or elite camp.
Well, you notice, too, that there's athletes from all various demographics, backgrounds, you name it. And what are the things you would tell them in terms of advice to get noticed more, and advice you'd give a parent or player who wants to have their son or daughter get to that level and play in college for a scholarship? What were things you tell them?
Well, they have to make sure that they're getting with the right AAU program, or because a lot of times coaches only want to go to – they're going to go to certain AAU tournaments. You want to get and I'm going to say bang for your buck. They want to go to where as many kids as possible where they got a chance to see. So you got to make sure you're with the right AAU program, that you're going to have a chance to be seen at these tournaments. And what events are certified. And a lot of times kids are wasting time wasting time going to play with some AAU teams. I'm not going to be at certified events in the month of April. You had 2 weekends in April, and then you have basically 15 days in the month of July that you're going to be seeing. So, college coaches, when they start recruiting, like we're recruiting 2019 kids now, or 2020 kids, you're going to have basically 6 days in the month of April and then 15 days in the month of July, and you're making a decision whether a kid is going to be good enough to play in your program, for the next 4 years.
Let's go back to the phones for Franklin native and Hofstra assistant basketball coach Lamar Barrett, 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here on High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We talked to Cassandra Arnacell. Is this Lamar's wife?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Not bad.
How you doing, honey?
Hello. How are you, dear?
All right. The one thing she's going to probably talk about, you keep talking about all the moves. She brings that up a lot. I've moved 5-6 times, so every time I get a chance to move, I'm buying another gift.
Cassandra, what's more frustrating, the moves or having to wait for him till 1 a.m?
It's definitely the move. Definitely the move. It's as you get older, it becomes a little more tedious to pack that box. But it's so funny that all college coaches have this saying: if you keep one box packed all the time, your chances of moving are slimmer than any other chance. So I always keep one little box of knickknacks always packed away in another room. So my chances of moving are less.
It makes sense. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Very interesting. But, I definitely wanted to call in after I heard Coach Hickman. Yes, I've known him since I was about 15 years old. So it definitely wasn't a match that he made, but I think getting to know what the basketball life was about, even on the high school level, it prepared me for my future husband that I met 20 years later.
I can see that for sure. Well, any last messages you'd like to send the husband? Does you want to bring you lunch when he gets done today? Anything?
Actually, we're going to a graduation today.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
So we're waiting for him to come back. I have my cousin's graduating from Hampton University School of Pharmacy tomorrow, and we have some festivities that we're doing today. But, I'm just so happy to be back in the 757. It was an enjoyable 3 years that we actually lived here. I loved my Old Dominion University family. I try to stay in touch with them, the people that I worked with and the other people that I just met the 3 years that we actually lived in Suffolk. And, I'm happy about this journey that Lamar and I are taking together. And it's a hard journey. Not everyone can do this journey. So I'm so happy that, God chose him for me and me for him. And we are on this beautiful journey together. And I know that only better things are going to come out of his career and our lives together.
That's very sweet and touching. Well, we thank you for coming on. As Coach Young would say, since he's not here, I'll say it. Hey, it's Mother's Day tomorrow, Lamar. You better get breakfast, lunch, brunch, and dinner.
And a big gift.
Yes, don't forget that, too.
Thanks, man.
There's plenty of good shops.
I appreciate it, man.
If you forgot some of the places from hometown, I'll fill him on some good places for shopping, all right?
Exactly.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cassandra. Lamar Barrett's wife with us. Lamar, Hofstra assistant basketball coach in studio. You want to talk to him, you can call in at 757-687-9494 right here on ESPN Radio 94.1. Let's get to Jalen Ray here before we go to break and do our last segment of the morning. He's a young man. It's interesting. He played at Hampton High with some other talented teammates, Marquise Godwin, who's now at Old Dominion, Mastadi Pitt at Norfolk State. And he was sort of the less ballyhooed of the three until his maybe junior year. He started to get noticed. And speak on what he's brought to you guys, because he was an all-CAA rookie team performer, and he made SportsCenter, if I'm not mistaken, twice this year on game-winning shots. That's pretty rare for a freshman in college.
Yes, it is. One thing about Jalen, when I first I was in between, leaving Old Dominion and going to Hofstra, I had a chance. I was over at the Hoop Group Southern Invitational, and it's unbelievable. I had seen Jalen before. He was on the board, recruiting board at Old Dominion. So when I got the job, he was the first guy that I kind of went after, and I was there the day that his team loaded 757, played against Boo Williams' team, and he ended up with 39 against Boo Williams with Matt Coleman and them. And that day I knew he was a player. And from there, I said, hey, I would love for you. I'm taking another job. I can't tell you where right now, but I'm going to take another job, and I definitely want you to be get a chance to go and play where I am. And then I saw him again in July. Actually, Joe Mahalik saw him the first day, and then I saw him the second day, and Joe really liked him. And, I had already seen him. I loved him. We offered him a scholarship then, and we got him up in September, to visit. He committed on his visit, which was a plus. Everyone, Coach Brown and all of them helped out tremendously. And I told his mom we'll make sure that he's going to be taken care of. I'm a Hampton Roads guy. And she believed that she's a great lady. She bought in to Hampton. Jalen bought in. He came in as he graduated from high school on a Thursday at 17 years old, and actually on a Friday. His birthday was that Thursday. He came up in the summertime, and he was all of 158 pounds when he came to campus. It probably wasn't in the best condition, and he didn't realize that. Had a good summer, not a great summer. We went to Canada and played on a foreign trip for 5 games, and he played himself into, seeing that Coach Mahalik said he had a chance to play. He had a very good, practice session. Started his first 3 games, his college game. Probably he didn't even expect that when it happened. Like you said, he ended up being on the All-CAA rookie team, hit a couple of game winners. And as the season is over, you can't keep him out of the gym. He works hard. He's a winner. Another guy was in this area who was at College of Charleston at the time, Milan Brown. I remember the day I called him and said, hey, what's your thoughts on him? I knew what I thought, and Milan is a guy that I really like in this area. And Milan, the one thing he described him as is, Coach, he got a gorilla in his chest, which means he's a tough guy. He loves to win. He's going to compete. And so we knew we had something special. His best days are ahead of him. We believe that. And at this point right now, he went from 158 less than a year ago to he's at 182 pounds right now. So, we're thinking if he's at 190, 195 by the time next year in November, he's going to be even a better player.
I'm going to go back to the phone here in just a second, but what's your reaction as a group, coaches? I remember when he hit the first game winner, he does it again the second time. What are you guys saying? Because that's a freshman that you figure is going to be a key cog eventually, but maybe not that soon. Go back to what Milan Brown said. He has a gorilla in his chest. We're not shocked. He hits those shots all the time in practice. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking about if we're playing in a game, he wants the last shot. So we kind of understand, or we knew, and his teammates trust him. I mean, he's a freshman playing along with juniors and seniors, and those guys believed in him to get him the ball at times. And he wants the big shot, and he lives for that shot. And even when he made the shot, he didn't celebrate, jump up and down. He was like, that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, he's always had that steely demeanor that I think separates a lot of good players, or even the great players from the good players. We go back to the phones for Coach Lamar Barrett of the Hofstra Pride, assistant there out of Franklin High School, 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here. One more segment with Coach Barrett. Then we've got Dyrri McCain, KeAndre Lambert, and Sheridan Jones from the Maury Commodores in the studio, 757-687-9494. And we talked to, I think I know who this guy is, Jay in Chesapeake. What's going on, Jay?
What's up, Matt?
How you been?
Smooth?
What's up, man? When you call me by my nickname, you really know who I am. That name has been with me since the 8th grade.
How did you get the nickname Smooth?
We don't talk about that.
Can't talk about that, and guess what? I don't even. My wife, she tries to call me that, and I was like, that was before you, so I can't even do that.
That's an off-limits buddy nickname. I got you.
Yeah, hey, man, I just want to call, want to congratulate you. We talk about it all the time, but I think just to say publicly to everyone, I appreciate the job that you do as an assistant coach, because you were speaking earlier about exposure and then talking about Jalen Ray and the many conversations we've had over the years with our coaching friends about how much talent is here in the area that may not necessarily make Boo's team because there's only so many roster spots. But I just want to, for guys that are interested in their business and things of that nature, Lamar, I just appreciate the effort that you put in of actually getting out and having that eye to recognize talent. A lot of times I think we see with coaches today, they're looking for the ready-made player. And for guys like yourself to be able to see kids like Jalen Ray, London Parentes, and get guys like that, to see them and then project and know where they can be with your coaching, I think that's the difference of having successful programs and why you've been able to have success just about everywhere you go.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And people don't realize, Jay has been around, man, since I was a kid playing high school basketball. Before even high school basketball. 13.
We started at 13 years old.
And so, he's watched me as a player in high school. He was at Longwood with me. And after my first year, they brought in a coach, Ron Carr, who's now at Cosby High School. He was the new assistant coming in. And the one thing he said to me was, he told me, look, you can be a part of this team, but you really don't fit my style. And people don't realize me and Jay sat in and we went through – that was way before the day of Googling. We went to on the computer and we searched all the schools that needed a point guard for the 1991-92 season. And we sat there and went through it and we made calls. Reached out to Larry Rose, who was head of officials, and tried to figure out what was the best place for me to go. And we sat in that dorm room for hours trying to figure out what was the best place for me to transfer to help my career. And like I said, he was at Longwood, so he's been there every step of the way since I've been 13 years old. That's a true, dedicated friend, and he's going to tell me everything I need to hear, not what I want to hear, or whether it's good or bad. So that's something I appreciate as well.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys both, man. You both are doing a great job for our area, trying to help kids in our area, but basically in our state. But and I just wanted to make sure I rang in real quick, just to mention that and say how much I appreciate that, because like I said, for somebody in the business, a lot of times people think that the players are already made at 17 or 18 years old. And sometimes to be able to see that kid that may not peak until a little bit later, or just needs that additional collegiate coaching, and then turns out to be a pretty good college player, it takes a good coach with a good eye to see that, man. And I just don't think guys get their recognition and appreciation of that today because of, so everybody's caught into that one and done type of mentality.
Very true. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.
All right. You too. One more segment with Lamar Barrett. We'll get into the hoop group. Days at ODU. Aspirations maybe to be a head coach, what he's looking for in recruiting, and his thoughts on what happened with Dwayne Casey. 757-687-9494. You got a minute or two to hop in here. Give us a call. 757-687-9494 on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Welcome to the cake shop.
My bakery is only as good as my team. So I brought Cox Business Security Solutions on board. It's more than surveillance. The video footage helps me monitor activity patterns for smarter staffing and shorter customer wait times. That's icing on the cake.
Have a nice day.
Protect, monitor, optimize. Schedule your consultation at coxbusiness.com/security. Cox Advanced Services Virginia, LLC-DCJS. License number 11-7776. DPOR license number 270-516-4725.
Jason Swango with the Firm for Men.
One of the things I want to get across is we're not women bashers. Sometimes you'll hear commercials that have a little humor to them. The reality is that there's really nothing funny about your wife wanting to take everything that you've ever earned. There's nothing funny about that. And so although you may hear jokes with commercials, the reality is that none of this is a joke. This is real. And if you don't take it serious, she'll take you to the cleaners, I promise you.
Call 690-0000 and visit thefirmformen.com.
We all know from experience that Mom never forgets. From your first steps to those nights she caught you sneaking out, she's got everything logged away. So if you somehow messed around and forgot that Mother's Day is here, how do you think Mom is going to take it? Luckily for you, 1-800-Flowers has your back with an amazing offer that'll make you feel a little bit better about waiting until the last minute. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has beautiful bouquets, arrangements, and other gifts starting at just $29.99. Now that's a deal Mom would approve of. This offer is ending soon, so take care of your Mother's Day needs right now. Bouquets and arrangements from 1-800-Flowers come with an impressive amount of fresh blooms that are guaranteed to make her smile. To get beautiful bouquets, arrangements, and other Mother's Day goodies starting at just $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code AM. Again, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code AM. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code AM.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's your host, Matt Hatfield.
Thank you, Kyle. We're joined in the studio by Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach who played at Franklin High School, getting ready for year number 3 with the Pride. He's also been to many places, we mentioned, Old Dominion, American, Brown University, and was with the largest high school exposure camp in the country, Hoop Group Elite, from 2006 to 2008. And I will be out at the Hoop Group Southern Jam Fest next week. Lamar, let me ask you about the Hoop Group, what that did for you, because it was sort of the bridge in between some of your coaching stints. You were at University of New Haven, Central Connecticut State, assistant at Oxon Hill High in Maryland. But what did a Hoop Group do, and why is it so valuable in your eyes?
It'll recruit nationally. And because my job at the Hoop Group Elite Camp was to try to get in as many kids to camp during the summer. And it was also didn't do with a lot of the team tournaments, but my job was running the camps and clinics. And so I had a chance to basically recruit some of the best kids to camp across the country during the summer. And, you know, at that time you also met a ton of AAU coaches. So it became a national thing for me, built relationships with coaches, you know, from California to Texas to the Midwest, the Northeast, South. So it helped me from a recruiting standpoint later on. I mean, you know, people always joke. Just my mother-in-law last night, she said, how many people do you have in your phone? How many contacts? And, you know, it's probably close to 2,000. And that comes from the high school level to the AAU level, college level, NBA level. That was my job, to make sure I had as many contacts as possible to try to get as many kids as possible to camp.
Yeah, it's very stressful. Yeah, I got 2235. We're about the same place there at those on the contacts. But let's go to your time. Of course, you've had a real privilege to be with two of the most respected veteran coaches in the business. Now with Joe Mihalik at Hofstra, and before that with Jeff Jones at American and Old Dominion. Tell me what it's like working with both of those guys. Jeff Jones first, and now Coach Mihalik.
Jeff Jones and people don't realize he has a brilliant basketball mind. You know, he's a defensive minded coach first, and it all starts on that end. You know, and his ability to get the best out of his players is tremendous. You know, he goes into every game prepared. That teaches you a lot. You're going to be prepared going into every game. He goes over all the X's and O's. You know, and this is a guy who doesn't have to watch a ton of film. He can watch it one time, and then he can remember everything from that. So you got to know what you're talking about when you get on that floor, because he's not going to make a mistake. He's a very intelligent guy, and like I said, he's going to put his teams in the best position to be successful every night. You know, and the one thing about it is, I still talk with Jeff a couple times a year. I know this year, you know, he talked about it last year, that how he wanted to increase his pace, which they did over the year. We had a lot of discussions while I was there, and he joked with me about it last year of, you know, points per possession. So last year with those guys, and you got Amar Cave over there who's tremendous, and you have some better athletes. You could get up and down a little bit, and he's going to be all right. I mean, he's got some athletes in the program now that's going to allow them to get up and down.
And then with Coach Mihalik, what makes him unique?
Now it's totally opposite. He's a offensive genius.
Okay.
His teams, you know, like before that, I knew about him and I knew about his teams, but to see it every day, more of an offensive minded person. I mean, we average 80 points per game. We average about 73, 74 possessions per game there. He can counter to a counter. So if you're going to defend him, you're not going to take things away, because the way we play 4 out, 1 in. We get up a lot of threes. You got to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot with him. And so you got one as a defensive-minded guy in Jeff Jones, and you got one as an offensive-minded. And everything, every day in practice leads to competition. And, guys like playing for him, because if you got a chance, if you can shoot it, you got a chance to shoot the ball.
You've recruited a number of really good players when you've been at American, Old Dominion, which is Conference USA. Now made that transition from CA to Conference USA, and you're back in the CA, very competitive league. When you're out recruiting, what do you look for in a player? What do you want to see? What do you not want to see?
Well, I look at a player. I'm going to look for good players first. That's the first thing. And, it all depends on what style of player you are. So, I look at guys who got a chance to be all rookie team or rookie of the year. Look at them down the road. And I'm looking, and Jay kind of touched on it a little bit. If you got a chance to be on all rookie team, rookie of the year, got a chance to be an all-league player, and then at the same time got a chance to be player of the year by the time you leave, those are the guys I want.
So it's guys that can help you now, in a sense.
It's the guys who can help you now, and then there's going to be good in the future. Okay. A lot of times guys recruit guys, say, well, he can be good in the future. No, I want guys who are good now who can be great later, and because it's all about development at the end of the day. And like you said, it depends on where you are. Different styles of play of how you're recruiting. But I want a very good basketball player. I'm the competitive. I want to win. So you can't just and the only way you're gonna win games if your best players are playing.
A couple more minutes here with Lamar Barrett, the Franklin native, Hofstra assistant basketball coach with us here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. We've got coming up next, they're in studio already here, Dyrri McCain, head football coach of the Maury Commodores, and Sheridan Jones, the Clemson commit, and KeAndre Lambert, 2 four-star football players. You want to chime in with either of those guests we have, give us a call. You got a couple minutes here with Lamar at 757-687-9494 right here on ESPN Radio 94.1. You can always hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941. That's HS Sports Talk 941. Recruiting, fun, hard, easy, difficult. How do you size it up if someone asks you recruiting? Like it, dislike it? Give me your
You know what? I love being in the gym evaluating talent.
Okay.
That's what if you ask coaches that's what they love to do. They love to evaluate talent. When the recruiting part becomes a little bit more, it becomes tougher, is when you have to deal with not just the kid, but now you got to deal with the parent or the handler. Whether you don't know who that handler be, it could be the uncle, it could be a cousin, it could be the trainer, the workout guy. It's so many guys, and that's where I think recruiting has really changed. A lot of times parents are leaving it up to kids, or they trust someone else's opinion. But most of the kids, they're going to listen to their parents. But for some, it becomes harder in the recruiting world because you have to figure out who's the guy in charge, who actually is controlling recruiting. And a lot of times it's not the parents. Sometimes the kids don't have any control. So you got to figure out who is the guy that's in charge of recruiting, or in charge of their recruiting.
Sure. Now, it's a cutthroat business, as we've touched on throughout the morning, and one of the top coaches in the NBA got canned yesterday. The Toronto Raptors is Dwayne Casey. They got swept by Cleveland in the NBA playoffs, and he was the NBA Coach of the Year by the National Basketball Coaches Association. That's his peers, not the one by the media. What did you make of that, knowing that you're in a business where you guys have had success, but you know how it is. It's a win-now business. If you don't have the expectations you want, things can happen the other way.
And the one thing, Matt, with that, and Dwayne Casey, I'm not shocked by it, just because, like you said, it is a win now. Or, they're going to move on to the next guy. But guys, coaches understand in this business, you get hired to get fired. I mean, that's just what what guys think in this business. But Dwayne Casey just got caught up in a situation where he just can't get past LeBron James. It's not anything else. It's can he get past LeBron James? And he hasn't done it the last few years. He's done a great job for 7 years at Toronto, but at the same time, they don't have a transcendent star. They don't have a superstar. They have all stars. They don't have, and it's kind of tough when you go up against them. And Dwayne Casey, unfortunately, the situation, when is a players' league, and that's what people have to understand. And even though they got swept, guys didn't play, but I probably figured out the game that, DeRozan didn't play the last 14 minutes, probably was the writing on the wall that he probably was going to be let go at Toronto, because it doesn't matter how well a role guy is playing or that team is playing. you can't let that relationship ended that night when he didn't play the last 14 minutes in that game. And so you're going to side with the coach, or you're going to side with the star, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to side with the star.
It's almost a situation, too, where he had to address it, even if it's internally, and the fact that it didn't seem to have been addressed, it made people question, and people start to really wonder there. I'll get you out in these two, and we thank you so much for coming in studio. I'm sure we'll get you on again here soon. We didn't get a chance to talk about Trey Freeman, who I want to later, one of your favorites out of Kellum High School in Virginia Beach and Old Dominion, and I know we could go hours upon hours talking about Trey, but tell me this, for a young coach out there, any sport, it doesn't have to be basketball, it could be another sport, what advice would you give them? Because you're no longer a young pup at this anymore. What were the things you would tell them, be it a high school or a college coach out there?
Well, I'm going to say this first, and I say this to all young guys, and I say, why do you want to get into it? That's what I always say. People that have no idea. It looks really good when you're on TV and you see the guys with the shiny suits on, and you think they're making a lot of money. It's a tough business. It's a lot harder than what guys think. But I always tell guys, if you get in, you got to understand that it's a grind. It's a 24/7, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. You have to build your relationships with a ton of people, because it's all about that at the end of the day. You still have to bring in kids. So that's the bottom line business. Can you recruit kids? Can you bring them in? Not just any kid, but kids that are successful to help you win. So you have to be able to build relationships. And then you got to be a professional on this side. You have to be able, like a lot of times there are coaches that come in and all they can do is recruit, but they don't do anything else. Probably when you can't get kids, you're probably going to be out of this business. And there's some guys who've been long-time recruiters, but you have to be able to do a little bit of everything. Recruit, skill development, on the court, coach, on the floor coaching. But you work at your craft, and you never stop working at your craft in this business, whether it's you're always learning. So I tell people, always continue to learn and always continue to grind, because that's what it is, and just continue to get better at your craft. And
lastly, you're currently a Division I assistant basketball coach. You've been all over the place, as we mentioned, from the days of Brown to American, Old Dominion, now at Hofstra, doing well. And you guys hope to be in that mix come next year. Selection Sunday, that team in the NCAA tournament winning the CAA. But do you have aspirations to be a Division I head coach one day?
I mean, I do. I definitely do. But, it's interesting. I look back at time, and when I first got into high school coaching, I said, I want to be – well, I got into college coaching at, the age of 32. And the one thing I said was, I want to be a head coach by 40. Well, I'm 47 now, 15 years later. And so you definitely want to do that, but, it becomes harder. I think Mike Jones was one of the few guys at a later age that got a head coaching job at Radford University. But, I mean, it could happen. You do want to do that. And then also another goal of mine is to get to the NBA, whether it's in scouting or, you do some scouting. That's also a goal of mine. If head coaching is not the opportunity, also trying to get into the NBA as well.
Well, no matter where you are or whenever, we want you to always be around. Don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for stopping by, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Matt. It was so great having me on, and I appreciate Coach Young. I wish he would have been here. And
he's too busy wheeling and dealing.
And when I get back in this area another time, this is home for me. Mother's still here. Grandfather's still here. So still got some family members here in the area. Sisters here as well in Williamsburg. So and brother over in Norfolk. So family is still here. So it's always home to me. And no matter where I am, I'll be back here. And like I said, my wife talked about it earlier. You missed this place, but. Coach Young, he has some vision. He thinks I'm going to be back here sometime. I don't know. But I know you guys do a tremendous job, and I'm sure I'll be listening next week when you're doing the event at the Hoop Group.
We appreciate it. Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach and Franklin native. Coming up next, we've got Maury head football coach Dyrri McCain and a couple of 4-stars, KeAndre Lambert and Sheridan Jones. Sheridan's committed to Clemson. He's probably working on KeAndre to go there too, but we'll find out more about those couple of guys and the coach next on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Do you have psoriasis and find yourself itching all the time? If you have mild to moderate psoriasis and cannot stop scratching your skin, you may qualify for a clinical research study. Virginia Clinical Research is currently conducting a study to evaluate a topical ointment for the itching symptoms related to psoriasis. You must be at least 12 years of age or older, have mild to moderate plaque psoriasis, and itching associated with the psoriasis. All study-related visits and investigational treatments are at no charge, and compensation is available to those who qualify. For more information, please contact Virginia Clinical Research at 757-625-0151. That's 757-625-0151. Or visit us on the web at vcrstudies.com.
ESPN Radio 94.1 cheers for Hampton Roads businesses. Here's this week's local business scope.
In studio with Tim Anderson from Anderson Law. We've all heard that really catchy jingle with 800-1000. Tell me about Anderson Law.
Full-service law firm here in Virginia Beach. Practice bankruptcy, criminal defense, some domestic work as well. We have a service now where you can text us 24 hours a day, even if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you find yourself in a legal emergency, this number could get you in contact with an attorney very quickly.
I could text 800-1000 right now. How does that work?
If you're being pulled over for a DUI, if you have a family member who was just arrested, early in the morning, this would be very helpful to be able to get into contact with an attorney very quickly. So you can call 800-1000, or you can visit our website at 800-1000.com to reach an attorney when you need one.
If you would like to score in the local business scope, email localbusiness@maxmediava.com. ESPN Radio 94.1.
My wife's going to love these diamond studs.
Fine jewelry is up to 70% off at JCPenney.
Huh. Maybe I should get this mom pendant for my mom.
Do it. Mom jewelry is an extra 15% off. Major brownie points. This Mother's Day, get fine and fashion jewelry for all the moms in your life at up to 70% off. After an extra 20% off with JCPenney credit card and coupon. Shop extended hours this weekend. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Coupon valid 5/10 to 5/13. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details and store hours.
Springtime means deck time. And if you own an AZEK deck, you know there's more than one reason why AZEK is number one in premium decking. 35 incredible colors. 0 weekend staining or sealing. 981 beautiful sunrises. And with a 30-year best decks warranty, that's why AZEK is number one in premium decking. Don't settle for just any deck. Ask for AZEK. Learn more at azek.com/bestdecks.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here is your host, Matt Hatfield.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Back here, hour 2. We thank Lamar Barrett, Hofstra assistant basketball coach and Franklin native, for joining us in hour number 1 of the program. My usual co-host, the Coach Ed Young, is not here. He is too busy because he is celebrating getting the Kentucky Derby trifecta, so we'll have to manage without Coach Young, the rich and famous Coach Ed Young. We have some special guests, a couple of guys that may be rich and famous one day very soon. We have 2 Maury Commodore football prospects. Sheridan Jones, he's a 4-star defensive back headed to the Clemson Tigers after this coming season at Maury. And we have junior KeAndre Lambert, who led the Tidewater area in receiving as a sophomore. 60 catches, 1069 yards, 11 touchdowns. Also the nephew of Cam Chancellor, the Seattle Seahawks Pro Bowl safety. And we have a guy that was a teammate of Cam Chancellor's back in the day. He's now the second-year head football coach of the Commodores, Dyrri McCain. He played his college football at Hampton University and was a good player in his own right. He was a second-team All-State guy, and if the stats are right, he'll correct me, he finished up with 16 interceptions his last 3 years at Maury to go with a boatload of catches, touchdowns, yards. Gentlemen, good morning. Thanks for stopping by.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, you guys feeling all right?
Yes, sir.
Coach, how are you?
I'm good.
You enjoying life with these two guys?
Yes, man. Those guys are some great individuals, and definitely looking forward to big things from these guys.
Imagine keeping you pretty busy and your phone ringing quite a bit with all the coaches. Let's start with Sheridan and KeAndre. For this coming season at Maury, I imagine pretty big goals. What's the spring been like? What have you been doing? What's Coach been putting you through to get you ready for the coming season?
We just started spring practice about a week ago. So before that, we've been weightlifting pretty hard, going outside, getting individual receiver practices, defensive back practices. And Now we're throwing a lot more conditioning into it, and then we start passing league next week, and then going into the summer, way more conditioning, and then just getting ready for the season for real. So.
And new digs for you, which we'll talk about a little bit in depth, Sheridan. What about KeAndre, your thoughts getting ready for the season? You going pretty well?
Yes, sir. We're just working hard, competing every day. He's trying to get us better. We bring in new people. We plan on making noise this year, but we know we just got to keep working hard. We know that we're just destined for great things this season.
Coach, let me turn it over to you. Just finished up your first season as a head coach. What's the biggest thing you learned coming over from Norview, where you were an assistant for your former head coach in Delton Cotton, as a head coach that you didn't know going in?
Well, first of all, I definitely want to thank Coach Cotton for a lot of things that he's done, that he will continue to do. Definitely been the one and great mentor for me. The biggest thing I learned is, and something that he taught me, is that I think what a lot of guys do when they first come in is try to do 30, 50, 60 different things their first year. And he definitely told me to make sure I just stick to just a couple things. So it was a couple things that I tried to change last year, as far as having a true weightlifting program and changing the dynamic and the attitude and how to win and those type of things. And then now, year 2 is here. So it's just adding on to those things. And definitely one of the key things is making sure I do a good job of building some leadership on the team. These guys definitely work hard, and they want to go far. They want to go far, whether it's next chapter in their life or just this year as far as football. So with that being said, and what usually what my kids want, I definitely try to pull off, and they've been working hard. So I just need to make sure I do a great job of teaching them how to be leaders. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is making sure that we have that depth, that leadership.
We're chatting with Sheridan Jones, Clemson recruit, KeAndre Lambert, 4-star wide receiver, and a head football coach of the Maury Commodores. Dyrri McCain with us this morning here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. You want to talk to Coach McCain, KeAndre, and Sheridan? You have a chance to do so now. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. That's 757-687-9494. We'll go to the phones here in just a moment. But, Coach, speak on these two guys a little bit and introduce the audience to them that don't know about them. We know Sheridan is a 4-star defensive back. He's headed to Clemson. He's been a big-time shutdown guy on the defensive side of the ball, coming over from Bishop Sullivan Catholic the last 2 years, which we'll get into in a little bit, his move back to Norfolk. And then KeAndre Lambert leading the area and receiving as a sophomore. Tell us what makes these two guys special.
Oh, man. Well, first I'll start off with Sheridan. Great kid. I really don't think that there's anything that, not just me, I just don't think there's anything that anybody can say bad about this kid. Great kid, well-mannered, does everything he needs to do in school. Those are definitely some of the characteristics that are going to carry him far in just life, not even talking about the game of football. But he just has this attack mode about him, and just wanting to be the best. He's a guy that definitely never settles with anything. He's on his way to being on the National Honor Society. So he's just and again, these are all the things that I'm not even talking about football. That's just going to make him a good person in life. But again, I guess on the football side, he always wants to be lined up on the best guy. He doesn't shy away from competition. I know when we did get started with spring practice, I'm kind of older in my days now, but I know when we get in spring practice, first thing he said was, "Coach, you need to make sure you put on them cleats because I need some work." So definitely just has that competitive nature in him, and him and KeAndre go at it a lot. Tashawn also, those guys help get Sheridan better, and he does it on the flip side of getting them better. And just a great kid, man. Just a great kid, and I mean, I can go on and on and on, but like I said, man, he's just one of the phenomenal kids that I know is going to be successful in life.
And what about for KeAndre?
KeAndre, it's been a long road for him thus far, but definitely gain that relationship with him. And one of the things I think KeAndre found out was I'm really, really, really tough on players who I know can do big things. And one of the things that he told me was that he doesn't want to be a kid that lives in a shadow. And with that being said, when guys usually give me their goals and what they want, and especially if it's not bigger than team goals, I try to do everything to try to get it out of them. And sometimes, with both of those guys, some of the other guys on the team, I'm just really tough on those guys because I just make sure that I'm not the one that is holding them back from reaching their goals and their big time dreams. So, but good kid, man, does everything he's supposed to do, everything I ask. He does it. I think one of the biggest things that he's grown since the season last year is the way he's trying to attack his leadership. I see him getting better day to day, and he's been doing a heck of a job. So I'm definitely expecting great things out of him, and I know he'll continue to work hard because he's a bigger picture. He sees the bigger picture type of guy. So can't wait for both these guys to lead the team this year, and I'm pretty sure that they'll do big things in the future.
Let's go to the phones at 757-687-9494 for a couple of 4 stars. KeAndre Lambert from the class of 2020. He's got 10 offers. And Sheridan Jones, a 4-star defensive back, headed to the Clemson Tigers. He chose them over about 17 or 18 offers, as well as their coach, Dyrri McCain. 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here. We talk first to Keith in Smithfield. You're on ESPN Radio 94.1, Keith.
How you doing? Matt Hatfield? How you doing, Coach?
Doing well.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm a Smithfield Packer fan of him. I'm looking to hear y'all conversation. Y'all, I root for y'all to upset up Lake Taylor this year.
All right, I'm sure they're glad to hear that. You got a Smithfield fan, guys. You feel good about that?
Yes, sir. That's the plan. I don't plan on taking any losses this year.
Hey, Coach Landry, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Y'all got a good offensive team over there. I ain't never seen y'all play. I'm gonna try to come in there and see y'all play a couple games and see how y'all team is. And I think y'all should go farther this year in the playoff.
Yes. Like I said, it's definitely not. I wouldn't definitely put it on me. I think I put that on my kids. I think they have that mindset and wanting to go further than we have been in a while. They've been working towards it, so definitely credit goes to them. And I definitely can't leave out my coaches, man. I have a great coaching staff, no question about it. I think the kids understand that and know that now. So it's going to take my coaches, to be honest. Nothing to do with me. My coaches, they're phenomenal, and my players who have been stepping up and working hard, and my leaders, and it's definitely going to come through those two groups, my leaders and my players and my coaches.
Yes, sir. I'm asking this last thing if I guess I ask. Who y'all open against the first game of the season?
We have Bethel High School.
Okay, good luck to y'all. They hope y'all win.
Thank you, Keith. We appreciate it. Yep, they open up against Bethel, and then I think you follow with Nance. Whenever after that, it'll be, is it August 24th? Does that sound right? Something like that.
Yes.
All right. We'll go back to the phones here in a second. But Sheridan, I heard you say you don't plan on losing it all this year, which I'm sure is music to Coach McCain's ears. Let's get to, and you committed to Clemson, which we'll talk about this morning, and you played the last 2 years at Bishop Sullivan. A lot of people are probably wondering what brought you to Maury. You were originally a Norfolk kid, were you not? You went to, was it Norview your freshman year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, your older brother, is that Darius Jones, who played defensive back, went to Richmond, then I think he got into studying, was it acting or something? Or what was he?
He had a full ride scholarship to Richmond, and he ended up turning it down to go do film work at NYU. He just graduated.
Did he? Well, good for him.
2 years ago.
That's pretty rare, though, to turn down football for that. But you appreciate the vision outside of football to have something to do there. But so just to get to my question, though, what brought you back to Norfolk and to Maury specifically?
Coming back to Norfolk, it was definitely a hard decision leaving Bishop Sullivan, considering everything that Coach Scott and the other coaches and my teammates over there. But me and my mom, we had future financial issues due to me being 18 this upcoming year, and being a senior. So the money she gets for raising me as a single parent, some of that money would be gone. So my little brother was already at Maury High School. He's a freshman playing baseball. And Coach McCain, he was on that Norview staff my freshman year at Norview. So we had already had that relationship. And coming to Maury was just basically a perfect fit. And my mom can definitely see all of the games this year because being that we traveled so much with Bishop Sullivan, she wasn't able to see most of them. So.
Gotcha. And who's better, little bro, or you? You're better in football, he better in baseball?
Yeah, no. I mean, I retired on top in baseball, so he's still not better than me.
Oh, okay. You reclassed from 2020 there to moving up to 2019. How'd you feel about that? And what was the feedback you got from college coaches? Was it good?
It felt good.
Okay.
College coaches were definitely on the move with it. And Clemson, I didn't even have the offer when I was still a sophomore.
Really?
Because they don't usually offer sophomores.
Okay.
But, coming into the junior year, so they said as soon as I reclassed up to a junior, then I was, at the top of the list, and they threw it that night. They threw the offer that night. So we already had that relationship going and everything, but they threw the offer that night, and then we just got into more contact due to the NCAA rules and everything. So I was able to call them, text them, and basically everything just got better from there.
And we'll get into your commitment a little bit later. But didn't realize that Clemson did not offer sophomores. That's interesting. KeAndre, you're not a sophomore. Well, you're technically going to be a junior soon, so they can offer you once you get there. So let's go back to the phones for Sheridan Jones, 4-star Clemson commit, 4-star junior wideout and athlete KeAndre Lambert, and their coach of the Maury Commodores, former Maury standout and Hampton University player Dyrri McCain, 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here. One more call before we go to break, and we talk to Melvin in Hampton. What's going on, Melvin?
Yes, sir. I would like to say, I'm currently living in Hampton, Virginia, but I grew up on the south side, and I went to Maury High School from 1971 to 1975, and we had the great football coach, Jerry Sazio. I'm sure, a lot of, where the coach probably may have heard of the history, but they won the Eastern District title, 3 years in a row, where they went 11-0.
Correct.
But they came up in the regionals. I think it was 1973 against the Wilson Presidents over there in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Did you have a question for Coach or one of the players?
Well, I would just like to share a little history with the coach.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Okay, Melvin, is that all you had?
Yeah, like I said, okay, they had an all-state running back by the name of George Woodhouse. And they had a linebacker named Rob Kit Curry.
Okay.
And they went to the 1973-74 state where they lost to the Annandale Adams.
Okay, Melvin, we got to roll. We don't have a lot of time here. We got to go to break and get some more callers in, all right?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here. More to do with KeAndre Lambert, Sheridan Jones, and Coach Dyrri McCain. When we come back, give us a call, 757-687-9494, right here on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Look sharp for your wedding day or your prom night at Philip Michael Fashion for Men. Tuxedo rentals start at $69.99. Rent 5 tuxedos, get the groom's tux free. Every style and every size for every occasion. Slim fit sizes too. Visit a Philip Michael store near you today in Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Hampton, and at Jefferson Commons and Newport News. Philip Michael Fashion for Men. More style for your money. Don't need a tuxedo but still want to look your best right now at Philip Michael. Get 2 sport coats and 5 spring and summer inspired colors for just $150, or choose 2 classic suits for $150. Can't decide? Mix and match. 2 for just $150. Visit a Philip Michael store in Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Hampton, and at Jefferson Commons and Newport News. Look sharp for your wedding day or your prom night at Philip Michael Fashion for Men. Philip Michael Fashion for Men. More style for your money.
How do you describe Mom? Amazing, strong, happy, graceful, selfless, all of the above? This Mother's Day, let her know how much she means to you, to the family. Surprise her with the gift of diamonds from Diamonds Direct. We put together a special collection of classic, affordable Mother's Day gifts. Diamond earrings and bracelets, diamond pendants, diamond eternity bands, timeless treasures that every woman loves. And because we love moms and want them to have nothing but the best, now through Mother's Day, you can get 3 years zero-interest financing. So you can get her that $2,000 eternity band or diamond stud earrings or diamond pendant and pay just $56 a month. Cards, flowers, and dinner are all great, but this year, give her something of lasting value, something that's as rare and unique and as precious as she is. Diamonds. Join Diamonds Direct as we honor moms for all they do and enjoy 3 years zero-interest financing on any purchase. Happy Mother's Day from Diamonds Direct.
On Virginia Beach Boulevard, across from Town Center.
Hey, it's Jimmy Ray, J-Mac, and Josh with Chantel Ray Real Estate, hitting the street to find out what frustrates you the most about a real estate transaction.
I hate getting stuck in long-term contracts. They lock you in for 6 months, 9 months, whatever they want, and then I can't get out when I want to work with someone else if I'm not happy.
That's not a problem. We have a fire me guarantee, which simply means that if a client is not happy for whatever reason, they can cancel contract at any time.
You know, I really don't like when I can't get in touch with my real estate agent. That is very frustrating.
Chantel Ray Real Estate has got that covered. We have a live agent available from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. We don't want our sellers wondering if we've missed any inquiries on their home, so we have an agent ready to talk to them.
Well, if you want to know more of what makes Chantel Ray Real Estate work for you, go to chantelray.com or call 717-1003.
Because if it has to sell, call Chantel. chantelray.com.
Did you play basketball?
Napa know-how.
Hear that screeching sound from your car? It's your brakes yelling, "Change me." So head to any Napa Auto Care Center and we'll replace them for you. Or go to any Napa Auto Parts store and do it yourself. Either way, you'll get a $50 prepaid Visa card by mail on qualifying purchases over $250. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/18.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's your host, Matt Hatfield.
All right, back here on the program. Thank you, Kyle. We've got in studio some special guests. Head football coach of the Maury Commodores. He played some football back in his heyday, which was not too long ago, at Hampton University. And with the Maury Commodores, Dyrri McCain. Also, a couple of the standout players, Sheridan Jones, 4-star defensive back headed to Clemson, and 4-star junior wide receiver KeAndre Lambert. We'll get into his bloodlines and stories, too. 757-687-9494. We'll get you in here on the program. Give us a call. You can hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941. That's HS Sports Talk 941. But we always want you to call 757-687-9494. Try to be quick and in a hurry here so we don't have all day. Let's go back to the phones. Bryson in Norfolk, you're on.
Yo, Coach McCain, Chicken Wing, and Slim Jesus. What's up, y'all?
What's up, man?
What's up, fellas?
Who's Chicken Wing?
Hey, this question for Coach McCain, being that he was a part of probably the best team in Maury history. the class of 07. What are you doing to bring back that winning attitude, that effort, and the things that Coach Cotton led those guys to do back then?
A lot of the things are similar. Like I said in the beginning, what he did for us in that group as players, man, is something that I definitely wanted to do in my future. I just didn't know that it was gonna be this soon. So a lot of the things is really just, like I said, that first year of just changing the culture around and just showing guys how to do things the right way. And that's mainly in the classroom, and in the weight room, and the way we practice, and then like I said, now developing that leadership. So it's definitely a process, and I know that. I think the kids know that also, but they've been working hard. Like I said, and I think one of the biggest things is making sure that you get a great coaching staff, and I think I have one of the best around, man. A lot of credit to those guys and the work that they put in. So I think it's on its way.
757-687-9494 can get you in here. Let's go back to the phones real quickly. Coach Twine from Deep Creek wants to chime in. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Good. What's up, Dyrri, man? I just want to say best luck to you this season. I feel like as young coaches, we got to set a higher standard for the kids now, because we kind of can relate to this generation of kids now. So I just say best of luck to you this season, Eastern District, man. Just keep doing your thing out there, because I know we try to do our same thing too. So just best of luck to you.
Hey, man, thanks, and definitely saying to you, man, I definitely saw and heard about you guys last year, man. I know you have bigger and better things planned this year, and definitely us as younger coaches, if you need to reach out, and I hope if I can reach out, any advice or any questions that I might have, or same to you if you have any for me, man, I'm definitely here.
Most definitely, man. Like I said again, best luck to you, because I know you're going to do your thing at Maury, man. Because I remember I played against you when you was at Hampton. I was at Nova State at the same time, so it's kind of funny they all linked up together like that.
Oh, a little MEAC rivalry there. So, hey, Coach, we got to work on for next year then, 2019, maybe a Maury Deep Creek game or scrimmage, something like that we got to work on.
Hey, you never know. We never see how it all plays out. We can go from there. That's all we can do.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
all
Coach.
right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
757-687-9494. We'll get you in here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com with KeAndre Lambert, Maury junior wide receiver. He's got 10 offers, and Sheridan Jones, Maury rising senior defensive back here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Did the thing come unplugged there, KeAndre? Let's see if Kyle can you come in here and see if we can get KeAndre reconnected by chance? Kyle, can we get you to We've lost KeAndre's connection here. If we can somehow get him set up, and he's with his headphones. If you could come in here and try to help him out here, appreciate it. While we get that situated, Sheridan, let's go back to you for a second. We'll go to Coach and hopefully get KeAndre worked out here. Tell me about defensive backs are known for their confidence and competitive edge. Got a little swagger. A couple things I'm sure Coach can attest to. You have, but always wonder that first high school game. Take me back to it. Did you have some nerves, some butterflies?
Definitely. I remember my first scrimmage at Northview High School. I was definitely nervous, and I think I gave up like a little go route. It wasn't a touchdown. It was a little down the field, but after that, I definitely I calmed down. I was like, all right, I'm here now, so I got to do what I got to do. And just from there on out, I just had to make sure that I knew what I knew I could do, and then I just had to let myself know that I was the best of the best, and make sure the people outside watching knew that.
Now, you committed to Clemson. You chose them over a finalist list of South Carolina, Virginia Tech, Ohio State, and Tennessee. If I'm not mistaken, that was your final cut. You even visited Alabama and Ohio State. They've won some national championships before, like Clemson. They all went at a high level. So what was different about Clemson compared to the other two?
Clemson definitely made me feel like home. Every visit that I've taken there, they made me feel comfortable, and had a great relationship with the coaching staff, Coach Reed, Coach Venables. Coach Venables was my main recruiter. He showed lots of love. And then talking to Coach Sweeney when I went down there that last time, it just made me feel like I was just very comfortable. And they always had a little edge on everybody else, being that they was my dream school when I was younger, watching them put people in the league. And then after that, I basically knew what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to wait too long on making my commitment. So I made a decision, and I ran with it.
Now, Coach, as you look at these guys with the recruiting process, certainly Sheridan just committed and KeAndre's about to get through it, and we'll talk with him here in a moment once we hopefully get the technical difficulty solved. What's the advice you give these guys as they get ready to embark on the journey with that in terms of how they handle it and things? Because you as a player went through it yourself. You had a number of schools you were considering, and you ended up going to Hampton University. What are the things you tell these guys?
Just tell them to first of all, enjoy the process. You only get it one time. That's one of the things I made sure, especially with, I guess I'll talk about Sheridan first. When he first came over, just tried to give him all the advice I could as far as, like I said, how the process works. And you only get it one time. It's like senior prom and graduation and all that. So you only get that process one time. So you just want to make sure that you work hard, of course, and do everything you're supposed to do. And it's a better situation when you can, at the end of the day, when you want to make that decision, that you can choose where you want to go. And that's the biggest difference, rather than settling because you didn't do everything that you were supposed to do, and that's in the classroom and your attitude and everything like that. So he's done a phenomenal job of handling the whole situation. He doesn't get too high. Of course, he has the confidence. Feels like he's the best, and rightfully so. I definitely feel like he's the best corner around. But he also brings that attitude and that work hard and that grit and that leadership to the rest of the guys. So he's definitely not a guy who thinks he's too big to work or too big to continue to elevate his game, elevate his personal self. So phenomenal kid. And with KeAndre, he's going through the process right now, and it's step by step with him, just so he understands that he, obviously, a lot of kids have no clue how the process works, and he's slowly learning. He's starting to understand it. He's learning how to take it in, and of course it'll grow even more. And as those times come, I'll do my best to guide him. I know my coaches do their best to guide him, and he does a good job of listening to what's told to him. So he'll be in that next stage, hopefully, in Sheridan's boat. But the competitiveness in him is probably going to want to be better than him, which is good. So can't wait for the future for these guys.
Well, thankfully, we've got the technical difficulties solved with KeAndre. He can hear us now loud and clear. And 60 catches, 69 yards, 11 touchdowns last year. And you just got your 10th offer from Temple, I believe it was?
Yes, sir.
On Thursday. When you got your first one, who was it, and what was the feeling like?
It was Florida, and it was Florida University, and it was kind of unexpected because I had no contact with him. So when Coach McCain put me into his office, and he kind of surprised me with it on purpose. He sat me down, and then he told me to send him a football picture. And when I sent it to him, he sent me back a collage. And I'm on Twitter, so I know, collages, when you get an offer, you put the schools and stuff in it. So that's what he made it into. And I looked at him, and I was like, huh? And he started smiling and laughing at me, and I was like, and I was just excited. I got up and started running around the room. I was like, wow. It was just unbelievable because I put so much hard work and effort into it. Like that summer going into my sophomore year, and I was kind of down because I ain't had an offer. But he just told me offers don't mean nothing, rankings don't mean nothing. Just keep working. It's all gonna come, and when it comes, just know how to handle it. Stay humble. So when I got it, I was all excited, but I didn't. I stayed humble, and I'm still humble now that I got 10. But I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, the childlike enthusiasm, pretty cool to hear. Sheridan, what was your first offer? Do you recall who it was?
It was Florida.
It was Florida, too. Yes, wow. Okay. Could have maybe been Gator Boys, but we'll see. KeAndre's still looking at them. Now, as we've documented before, and it's going to be documented throughout your whole life, so you know this, that you're the nephew of Cam Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
What was that like growing up, and not just the nephew of Cam Chancellor, Keenan Lambert and Creighton Lambert, a couple of guys that Coach McCain knows well from Maury, and Keenan played 5 games in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders and started at Norfolk State. But what was that like growing up where you were around sports and football all the time and athletics all the time?
Well, when I was younger, I used to go around bragging about Cam being my uncle and not knowing that I'm living in his shadow. So, but as I got older, I know people notice me as his nephew, but it really doesn't have an effect on me. I know I have talent, and I know I can make my name for myself. So, they just keep me under their wing, and Tim was right. they keep me going down the right path, make sure my grades right. They're basically another 3 dads in my life. And Cam, as far as him, like, being famous and stuff, like, he treats me no different. I treat him no different. He's just like my uncle. I don't look at him type of way. I don't feel no pressure from him being my uncle. I go out and play like me. And he tell me don't let people like influence you and say you're not like your Cam's nephew. That's the only reason you're getting all the exposure because you're his nephew. He tell me, like, he encouraged me, and like everybody does, especially Coach McCain. He tell me that's why I think that's one of the reasons he's more hard on me, because he knows I'm in the shadow right now, but not for long, because he know like I'm working and he's helping me make a name for myself. So that's all I'm trying to do.
And I'm sure Coach can attest to this too. Even when he came out of high school, he wasn't the most highly regarded guy. And even when the first couple years in the league, he'd come back home and people wouldn't notice him. Now everywhere he goes, he's noticed. He's pretty well known. It's kind of changed about year 3, year 4. Coach, going back to that a little bit, and you played with Cam. I know he was a mentor of yours. You now coach the nephew here. From your perspective, how are these two guys similar or different in terms of KeAndre and Cam? And are they more similar or different?
I think a little bit of both. I guess Cam being a teammate of mine and my quarterback, he definitely brought that phenomenal leadership. In his class with him and D'Angelo Branch and Prince Parker and Big D and some of those guys that were in that class. I mean, he definitely showed the way of leadership. Just phenomenal. And I think, that 07 class that we had, we just learned so much from, the way that he would just, attack practice and the way that he would do things and the way that, he would lead us. And he did a phenomenal job. And when he left, a lot of that was carried over from, of course, Coach Cotton being the coach. And as great as he is, and then, that leadership that he taught us and the rest of those guys in that class taught us, that's probably one of the biggest things that I feel like that he brought to the table was just his leadership. And that, like I said, that's outside of, as hard as he can hit and as good as he can throw and good as a quarterback as he was, just his leadership definitely stood out, and definitely not surprised on his success in the NFL and what he did in college and all that stuff. It definitely wasn't surprising, man. The dude works hard, and he's a warrior 24/7. So, so great guy. And I guess the similarities with him and KeAndre is that KeAndre is in that same boat of leadership. He, young guy last year, but just I feel like that's what he's really been trying to attack, is just his work ethic has just blew up with wanting to be better, wanting to do better, taking everything that I tell him and what the coaches tell him, and him, like I said, and him growing to be a leader. If you ask me, he might end up being a better leader than his uncle, to be honest. Just because he'll be going through that so early. So I see great things from him too.
Let's go to the phones for Sheridan Jones, KeAndre Lambert, and Coach Dyrri McCain of the Maury Commodores, 757-687-9494. We'll squeeze one in here before break. We talked to Derek in Norfolk. You're on ESPN Radio 94.1, Derek.
Hi. I want to know, how do y'all guys feel about the new beginning that y'all bringing in to y'all organization?
The new beginning in terms of, can you elaborate just a little bit?
Like the players.
Okay. Some of the new faces. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate the call. Well, Sheridan, you're a new guy. How do you feel about having Sheridan, Dre?
Well, I known him since LYF days. We played for the Rams together, so I always knew what he could do. And then when I was a freshman, I saw him blowing up at Bishop. And when he told me he was making a move to Maury, at first I didn't believe him. And then when he texted me, it was like, I'm here. And I was in class, and he was like, yeah, I'm in the office. And I was like, it was just crazy. And I was like, yeah, we're about to go down this season. Because I know he's just a competitive. He's a dog. He's one of the best corners in the state, in the country at that. So I know we're going to compete at practice. We're going to get better. And I just can't wait.
I hear this all the time. He's a dog. Does that mean you got more bark or more bite? More bite than bark. All right. I can dig it. Coach, tell me, too. You got Sheridan Jones, a new face. Deshaun Peele, a new face. You got Ty Granger's a very good receiver. KeAndre, good problems to have when you're 4, 5, maybe 6 deep at wide receiver, is it not? Mr. Receiver, I should say.
Yes. Definitely a good group of guys, man. And I'm definitely tough on that group. And those guys know that, even the guys who aren't here. And even the guys outside of that, man. Other guys who work hard and put in the time, Mark Hill and Life Nason and Kazon Johnson and David Haley and the rest of those guys, Micah Coakley, and all those guys who just work hard outside of all that. I mean, but definitely with those names right there, definitely a good group to have, and I push those guys over the limit, and they know that. And but those guys take it on the chin, and they definitely work hard.
Sheridan, you're a defensive guy, but you can play some offense this year?
Yes, sir.
Receiver, running back, a little bit of both?
Receiver, some Wildcat.
Okay, interesting. We won't give away all the secrets. One more segment here. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. We're going to try to squeeze in some rapid fire and fact or fiction. Coach McCain doesn't know this. We're going to just spur it on him at the last moment. Some fact or fiction where we'll have KeAndre and Sheridan team up against Coach McCain to see who knows sports trivia better. That's coming your way next on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Hey, you're not my mother.
But I am your wife and the mother of your children.
That's true.
Soccer practice, school play, PTA, homework, dance recitals.
Okay, point taken. What should the children and I get you?
Diamonds.
Really?
Of course. Hauser's has an exclusive signature label collection featuring hand-selected ideal cut diamonds. Why would you consider anything else? One thing's for sure, I'll always remember this Mother's Day.
Hey guys, join me and visit Hauser's Jewelers in City Center at Oyster Point and HausersJewelers.com.
Love golf? You need to be in Williamsburg May 14th through the 20th at the Kings Mill Championship, presented by Geico. Why? Because you'll see some of the best golfers in the world. Lexi Thompson can smash a drive over 350 yards. Paula Kramer one shot a 60. And Minjee Lee aced a par 4. At Kings Mill, there's a fun zone for the kids. Amazing food and drinks. And kids 17 and under get in free. Go to thekingsmillchampionship.com to get tickets right now.
We all know from experience that Mom never forgets. From your first steps to those nights she caught you sneaking out, she's got everything logged away. So if you somehow messed around and forgot that Mother's Day is here, how do you think Mom is going to take it? Luckily for you, 1-800-Flowers has your back with an amazing offer that'll make you feel a little bit better about waiting until the last minute. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has beautiful bouquets, arrangements, and other gifts starting at just $29.99. Now that's a deal Mom would approve of. This offer is ending soon, so take care of your Mother's Day needs right now. Bouquets and arrangements from 1-800-Flowers come with an impressive amount of fresh blooms that are guaranteed to make her smile. To get beautiful bouquets, arrangements, and other Mother's Day goodies starting at just $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code AM. Again, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code AM. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code AM.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, presented to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's your host, Matt Hatfield.
Back here, one more segment. We can go a couple minutes over, can we not, Kyle? Or will I get thrown metal objects at me and have to duck? I'm good, okay. All right, we're in studio with KeAndre Lambert, Maury 2020 wide receiver, a 4-star, another 4-star, Sheridan Jones, defensive back, headed to the Clemson Tigers in the ACC. They recruited 757 well here lately. They got Taj Boyd. They got Jordan Williams out of Cox High School in Virginia Beach. They maybe one day could get KeAndre Lambert. We'll have to wait and see. And we have Coach Dyrri McCain, the second-year head man of the Maury Commodores. He played his college football at Hampton University, where he had 44 catches, 673 yards receiving, and 5 touchdowns his final year in 2011, if the numbers don't lie. And I'm looking at your junior year. You had 31 grabs for 1074 and 12 touchdowns at Maury. That's a pretty good average, and 10 picks. So, Sheridan, you got to get 11 picks to beat Coach this year. Facts.
I need that.
Well, that means you got to get some postseason games, because what will generally happen, as you probably already know, they won't throw in your direction. So you got to. Is that the record, Coach, or did your teammate James Butts break the record? Do you know what it is?
Nah. I have that over, and he's my defensive backs coach, but he already knows who holds that record.
Okay. And you had a 42-yard game-winning touchdown catch with 2.4 seconds left against Hampton in the regional semifinals. So you did it on the big stage. And I got to ask you, too, before I get these guys and we get to our rapid fire and our fact or fiction, state-of-the-art weight room there with Cam as well as Vincent Painter and Leroy Reynolds, who we had in studio last year. Atlanta Falcons played in the Super Bowl. They helped donate some equipment, did some remodeling. Pretty cool to have that, right?
Yes, man. Just like I talk about that whole entire team and class that we had, man. Like I said, again, credit to Coach Cotton and everything that he's done, because it starts with him and those guys do a phenomenal job. Leroy and Cam and Vince and like with helping the program and anything that we need. I mean, they tell me to feel free to ask, and those guys do a phenomenal job of just helping out the program.
Sheridan, I know you have big plans for this coming year before you get down to Clemson, but you got invited to play in the All-American game. What did that mean to you?
It felt pretty good. Back to the reclass thing, when I was going from 2020 to 2019, I was afraid that I wasn't going to get invited to any game because, like, the years changed, so I really didn't know what the Under Armour or even the Adidas people had me on their list. So as soon as I made the decision, he called me. He was like, I just entered your name for the 2020 game. And then he was like, so you still want to play? And I was like, yeah. He was like, so who you trying to play for? I was like, basically whichever game throws the offer first. And he was like, well, we got the best defensive back coach, Deion Sanders. You want to be coached by Deion? I said, yes, sir, coach. So he basically he talked to me on the phone that day. Daxley just sent some stuff down. So I just can't wait.
And that's probably a goal of yours, KeAndre, one day to play in an All-American game. And you hear those numbers. You and Ty Granger have a pretty healthy competition with catches, yards, and touchdowns. You got any bar you're trying to set here? You can eclipse those numbers Coach McCain set, right? It shouldn't be too difficult.
Yes, sir. That was my goal last year. Right after the season ended, I finished with 1069, and his record is only like 1070 something.
1074. You're 5 yards away.
Yes.
So if you just tell him to throw the bomb to you one more time, or you don't even need a bomb, take a hitch, and you'll be good.
Exactly. But he was just bragging about that. But it's definitely gonna get beat this year by either four of us.
See, I think he knew what was up there. He was up there. Coach, I hate to ask a bad question, but I'm going to. You've been involved with some memorable playoff games. Of course, also at Norview, you helped them win a big game, win a region championship. Is it more frustrating to lose a game when you score 41 as a coach or 48 as a player? I mean, my gosh, your offense puts up some video game numbers, but those are some tough ones to lose, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I think it's more tougher as a coach, and not for me. To be honest, it's more so the players who just work so hard and do what they're supposed to do, and the outcome just doesn't pan out their way. So definitely as a coach, but like I said, for the players and what they have to go through with that.
Type of receiver you are, KeAndre, then I'll ask you the same thing as a defensive back, Sheridan. What type of receiver are you, and what are the folks that are hearing you now for the first time? They're listening to this radio station, listening on VirginiaPreps.com or ESPNRadio941.com. They're going to go watch you on Friday nights. What are they going to see out of you? What type of wide receiver are you?
Well, I'm pretty physical. I'm a blocking receiver, which you don't get that out of most receivers. I'm not going to say I'm the most fast receiver, but I'm not scared. I'm going to go get the ball. I'm going to try to catch every ball. I hate drops, and I'm just I feel like I'm an animal in my position. And by my senior year, everybody's going to fear me.
We did a video interview the other day with Dick, and watch more on VirginiaPreps.com. You told me your favorite player is Antonio Brown with the Steelers. Sheridan, who's your favorite player? And tell me what type of DB are you in terms of physical too?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely a physical cornerback. I like to I'm quick on my feet, so like receivers like Dre, they might not be able to block me because I already got around them. My favorite
a little dig there, not a dig route.
My favorite player on the defensive side of the ball got to be Jalen Ramsey, just with the energy he plays with, the passion. And then when I go on the opposite side of the ball, they like to call me Lil Julio Jones. I'm a deep route kind of guy. You're going to see a lot of that this season.
I was just about to ask nicknames because Coach McCain played with a guy in D'Angelo Branch's nickname was Bubbles, if I remember right. Do you guys have nicknames?
Yeah.
Well, my coach,
that's Chicken Wing right there.
Oh, that's Chicken Wing. They give it away.
Matt, I call him Pup. He's Pup.
He's Pup.
Yeah, because he tried to beat those records and he didn't quite get there, so he's still a Pup right now.
He's got 2 more years though. 2 more years. And your nickname? I think I heard earlier.
Yeah, he said Slim Jesus.
Yeah, interesting. A couple more minutes here with Sheridan Jones, Maury Commodores, 4-star defensive back going to Clemson, KeAndre Lambert, the 4-star junior wide receiver, and Coach Dyrri McCain. We're going to do rapid fire in just a moment. But, Coach, I got to ask you, too, when you look at this coming year, you guys did not have a winning record, but you made the playoffs. There's a lot of buzz. As a coach, how do you keep these guys grounded? Is that a difficult task, or is it pretty simple?
No, not at all. I mean, I guess difficult because on the end of us coaches and just making sure that we put in the effort and the work. The kids, not so much. I don't think it's going to be hard work for them, but I don't think they're not seeing too high. I think those guys understand, who they are and what we've been, and it's going to be a process. So as far as those guys having that mindset, they're going to come to work all the time. They've been doing that already, and I plan on them continuing to do the same. So with the leadership that we will have and that we do have, and a lot of those guys, I'm pretty sure that they'll understand that it's a continued push, day by day, week by week type of thing. So, and it's just up to us as coaches to continue to put in the time and help these kids reach their goals. Well, we're almost out of time. We're a couple minutes over this morning. We got the go ahead to do it. So we'll do rapid fire first for KeAndre Lambert, the junior wideout for Maury Commodores, an all around athlete, and the physical, aggressive DB headed to Clemson, a 4-star as well, Sheridan Jones. Here we go, guys. Rapid fire. Favorite TV show?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob for Dre. What about for you, Sheridan?
I'm going to say The Chi.
The what?
The Chi.
I haven't seen that yet. Favorite movie?
Step Brothers.
Oh, that's a good one. Step Brothers. I like that.
Juice.
Okay, I'll check that out. Trade places with one person in the world. Who would you choose?
AB.
Antonio Brown. Okay.
Ramsey,
easy ones. The chore you hate the most?
Washing dishes.
Hate that too.
Got to say cleaning the tub.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. If you could be any animal in the world, who would you be?
Cheetah.
Cheetah for KeAndre. What about you, Sheridan?
A lion.
A lion. You got that roar and the bite. No bark, though. Well, a little bark. Who would you pick in a fight, Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man. Batman.
They disagree there. Sheridan goes Batman, KeAndre goes. And best Coach McCain impersonation. Who does it on the team?
Nose over toes.
Oh, so you do it.
Yes, sir.
Wow, he just did it right there. All right, I'll ask you, Dre, who's the best lookalike for Coach McCain? Do you have a lookalike? Anybody that looks like Coach McCain? Have you found one yet? Because if you go through his Facebook, he does some lookalike of some of his old teammates. So you guys, that's your task this year. Besides going deep into playoffs, competing for a state championship, to find his lookalike.
Coach McCain might look like a light skinned Neo.
I think he's just ugly.
Oh, man. Well, Coach, this is your chance to get back at him. It's fact or fiction time. We're going to throw 4 questions. We'll cut off 1 question and a bonus question at the end worth 2 points. It's 1 point each, and we'll have Sheridan and KeAndre team up to go against you. But I'll let you go first, Coach, since they just dogged you for about 4.5 minutes there. Question number 1. You ready, Coach?
Yes.
Since 2000, Hampton University, your alma mater, has more NFL draft picks than any other FCS program, that's also referred to as Division I AA, in the state of Virginia. Is that a fact or is that fiction?
That's fact.
That's a fact. All right, Dre, Sheridan, what do you think? Is that a fact? Hampton University has more NFL draft picks than any other FCS program in Virginia since 2000? Yes or no? Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
They both say fiction. Oh, fellas, I hate to tell you, it's a fact. Hampton has 8 since 2000. Richmond has 7. So just by a nose. Coach is up 1, but you're not out of the game yet. You can make a comeback. I'll let you guys go first here for question number 2. You're down 1-0. Maury has never pitched a shutout that's given up no points in a football playoff game in its history. Is that true, fact, or is that fiction, false?
Fiction.
Okay, you going with fiction?
I'm going to go with fiction.
Coach, do you agree? Maury's never pitched a shutout that's given up no points in a football playoff game. The guys say fiction, or is that fact?
I say that's fact.
Coach McCain's wrong. You guys are right. They beat EC Glass 14-0 in 1972, so the pupils get the teacher there. It's tied up at 1-1. Coach McCain's up first for question 3. Kevin Cobb was the first NFL quarterback that Cam Chancellor picked off in the NFL. Is that a fact, or is that fiction?
I'm gonna go with fiction.
All right. KeAndre and Sheridan, is that a fact or fiction? Kevin Cobb was the first NFL quarterback that Cam Chancellor, Dre's uncle, picked off.
Fact. I think that's a fact.
The guys say it's fact. What do you think, Kyle? You think the kids are right or the coach?
I'll go fact.
Oh, he's with the kids, and the kids are right. They're up 2-1 on Coach McCain. Kevin Cobb picked off My Arizona Cardinals. We need Kurt Warner back badly.
Get that wrong. He'll be mad.
Yeah, he would be very mad. Good job by you. And question 4, you guys are up first, and we got a bonus. So, Coach, you're not out of it yet. Cam has 15 career interceptions when you count playoff games. Colin Kaepernick's the only quarterback that Cam's intercepted twice. Is that fact or is that fiction?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely fact.
Yeah, he's saying definitely fact. What do you guys say?
I think he picked off more quarterbacks than
so,
so I'm going to say fiction.
Well, you guys disagreed here, so you had to go with agree.
I remember one when he picked Kaepernick. I remember one.
Well, the question is, has he picked off anybody more than once besides Kaepernick? Is Kaepernick the only guy he's picked off twice? Sheridan's telling you yes.
Fiction.
You're going to go fiction? And Dyrri says fact? Or did you say fiction? What did you say, Dyrri?
I say it's fact.
All right. The guys say fiction. Dyrri says fact. The kids are right again. It's fiction. He also picked off Cam Newton and Peyton Manning twice. So they're up 3-1. Last question. It's a bonus question. Now, I got to let the kids go first, Coach, because if they're up 2 on you, so they could agree with you and win the game. So we got to have a chance for you to tie here. And we're going to go to an NBA question. This is really tricky, guys. Although the Lakers lost the 1984 NBA Finals to the Boston Celtics, Magic Johnson had multiple triple-doubles in that series. Is that a fact or is that fiction?
Fact.
All right, the guys say fact. Coach, you're down, so you probably got to disagree to tie him, or you got to take the L.
You got to disagree.
I'm going to go fact on that one.
So you're just going to take the L and say, hey.
I'm going to go fact on that one because I think that's going to give me some points.
Well, they also said fact, but you're down 2, so you're not going to play for the tie. You're just going to concede defeat.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the type of guy. Let's go fiction.
All right, he's going to go fiction. Here it is. Did Coach McCain tie him? It's fact. The kids win. Easy. Magic had multiple triple-doubles, and that's it. KeAndre Lambert and Sheridan Jones celebrating, but they're going to have to run a lot on Monday, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
And we thank you for our time this morning. Lamar Barrett of Hofstra, the Franklin native, as well as Sheridan Jones, Clemson commit, KeAndre Lambert, 4-star junior wideout, and Coach Dyrri McCain. Guys, best luck this season. We'll be watching you.
Thank you.
Right. That'll do it for High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We thank so much Kyle Hightower on the other side of the glass putting up with me and coming in early this morning. We will talk to you next Saturday from the Boo Williams Sportsplex for the Hoop Group Southern Jam Fest, only on ESPN Radio 94.1.